What's up, y'all? All right, so today, top of the morning to y'all, man. It's morning time where I'm at right now as we shooting this, but today we're gonna go through those Washington Commanders. Last time we talked about the Panthers. The Commanders, yeah, they're doing a little bit better, man. And as we look at some of these pieces, but the main important things, they still kind of trying to get it together. So we'll talk about them, and then y'all can leave your thoughts, comments. If you scroll through this channel, you just kind of running up on it because you're searching Commander Cowboy stuff, and you run up on me, man. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, things like that. But let's talk about these Commanders. All right, so first and foremost, ended their 22 season. They ended 8-1. Ron Rivera's coming back. Eric Bieniemy, Jack Del Rio, coordinators for this year. So they got a new offensive coordinator. Jack Del Rio's coming back. He's doing a pretty stout job with their defense. Last year, they were ranked. They were ranked pretty well. Not a lot of passing yards going against them. Rushing wasn't too crazy either. Points for, they were 7th in the league. Yards against, they were 3rd in the league. So, I mean, Washington has a ready defense. Their defense is ready. But it's just that offense. And in my opinion, the Washington Commanders, every year they're trying to talk themselves into their quarterback situation. I mean, as a Cowboy fan, I know how it is to have to hype up your quarterback, and I guess sometimes we come across as like not really understanding our situation and understanding some people from outside the league, they see a lot better quarterbacks than what we have. So I mean, when you put it that way, I just don't understand how Sam Howell's going to be that guy, especially off of one game. I mean, that game he threw for 169 yards. His completion percentage wasn't even that good. It was 58%. I mean, they beat us down. I give them that. They beat us down that last game. But, I mean, you also have to consider, too, that the Cowboys probably really weren't playing. They really weren't playing Washington. I mean, it's not so much of an excuse. I mean, we were already in the playoffs. We already had, things that were going to go for us. So, I mean, y'all won. Y'all won, cool. But I think it was just, I don't know. I think it was something that maybe it gives you false hope as a Commanders fan. But some of the guys they have returning, their current depth chart: Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Chris Rodriguez. That's a pretty solid running back room. Wide receivers: McLaurin, Dotson, Curtis Samuel, obviously being the starters. They got some guys back in De'Ami Brown, some other guys, but unless they pull out into training camp or preseason, we're not going to really talk about them yet. Not yet. When we circle back around and come to these teams, maybe some of these other people will have emerged by then. But as of now, this is who they got. Logan Thomas, let me check on his stats from last year. I want to say, man, it seems like Washington always has hurt tight ends. Logan Thomas, I mean, he played. He started 13 games. He was hurt, obviously, for some. 323 yards and a touchdown. No. They use their other tight end too, John Bates. Armani Rogers got a little bit. Maybe it was a... So just some supporting guys. So far, I mean, of course, we have the better quarterback. I would take our running back room over there just because of Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, y'all heard Saquon the other day, right? Y'all heard Saquon Barkley the other day. Tony Pollard somehow has become, I don't know, like he was getting like a lot of respect during the season, and even the pundits were always banging on the table to get rid of Zeke and start Pollard. It was I don't know, it was something that people use as a way to just another complaint about the Cowboys. But he went from just being hyped up and everyone just saying how he was the better running back to now we're in the off season where you have running back problems, right? You have teams that have good running backs. You don't really hear them talking about like the problem at that position. So for some reason, our running back position is an unsettled one. Tony Pollard's not enough. The guy that everybody was saying that we should cut, once we cut him, now it's like, oh, well, Cowboys running back room. So, so yeah, no, I like Tony Pollard over any other of their running backs. Tight end wise, I think, again, with our tight ends being so young, it's hard for me to, like, anytime I'm doing these breakdowns, it's hard for me to put our tight ends over any proven tight ends. Like, Logan Thomas has some little bit of skin on the wall. But I will just have to wait and see with the tight end. In looking at Dalton Schultz, his first couple of years with the Cowboys, his first year was a rookie. He backed up. It was Jeff Schwaim at the time. He had decent, I mean, he had, you know, what you think a backup rookie would have. Second year, Jason Witten came back, so he never touched the field. And then once Witten left, third, fourth year, he broke out. And then last year, he dropped from having a career high of like 800 some yards to like 550 yards. Went from like 8 touchdowns to 5 touchdowns. So Schultz, I think his production can be duplicated, you know, as much. See, I think when guys leave the Cowboys, they instantly are, you know, regarded as a lot better than when they were with the Cowboys, right? Like, you know, everybody's favorite thing right now is to talk about how Kellen Moore was just this great offensive coordinator. But they really weren't saying that when he was here. So, I think our tight end position is going to be fine. I think Dak utilizes the tight ends enough to where, I mean, when you look back on past tight ends, those guys get a lot of production. And I think Dak really helps the tight end position. So whoever's at that tight end position for the Cowboys, I just feel like they're gonna be productive. So tight ends, I can't really give you something on that until it's proven. Wide receiver wise, though, we see McLaurin. He had 1,200 yards. 5 touchdowns. Dotson had 7 touchdowns, 523 yards. Did he get hurt? So yeah, Jahan Dotson got hurt. I think if he would have started, he probably would have got closer to 1,000 yards. I mean, he's a pretty good wide receiver, I guess, but you know, you gotta do a little bit more than 523 yards. I mean, he did get hurt though, so I'll give him, let's see, 14.9 yards per reception. So their wide receivers are good. I think if they had a better quarterback, that tandem would be a little bit more respectable. But I mean, you know, it's Washington. So overall, wide receiver wise, Let's see, Samuel. I think Samuel got hurt right now. He played 187 yards. Oh, reading the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I was reading the wrong thing on both. No, I wasn't. Samuel had 656 yards, 10.3 yards per reception, 4 touchdowns. Man, they have a very comparable wide receiver group to the Cowboys. I can't really say that like in past teams that, how our wide receiving core looks that much better. Honestly, can't say that comparing it to Washington. Comparing it to Washington, I would give it I give that kind of like a wash, kind of like a tie. They have good wide receivers. You can't really argue that one is that much better than the other. And that's where I've been trying to kind of focus on. Like, if you can unanimously say that something's better, but if not, it just becomes a preference, right? Washington fans, of course, will say how much better their wide receivers are than the Cowboys, and Cowboys vice versa. So it's understandable. But I think our wide receivers were slightly more productive at the end of the day. I think Lamb had a better year. I think Gallup is the only one that probably didn't have a good year as a third receiver over there, but Cooks definitely had a better year than Dotson. But at the end of the day, you got to throw these guys the ball, and you have to block for the guy throwing these guys the ball, right? So biggest thing I want to take away from Washington is their offensive line. I was listening to a Washington a podcast of the day. Before I do these videos, I try to go and see what their community is talking about, and just kind of what's on everybody's mind in their respective communities. And one thing that I did notice was the lack of faith in the offensive line. And we'll take a look at these guys: Charles Leno Jr., Sadiq Charles, Nick Gates, Sam Cosmi, Andrew Wiley. I pause right there because I have there's a Miss Sadiqa Charles. She's always in the Cowboy communities, YouTube. One of the first people to sub to my channels. If you're watching this video, what's up, Sadiq? But just, I don't know, Sadiq Charles, their left guard. So that's interesting. You got somebody trying to take your name, Sadiq. But let's see. Let's check these guys out. Leno, Charles, Gates. I can't tell you too much about their offensive line, but from what I was listening to with these other these conversations, these podcasts, like I said, it wasn't a lot of faith in what you have at offensive line. I think y'all lost. Y'all letting Norwell go. He was once highly acclaimed, I guess. He just wanted out, or money wise, I don't know what the situation was, but yeah, never a good idea to let go of productive offensive linemen. But let's look for some of these guys. Leno Jr. Older guy, started off games last year, but pretty old, long in the tooth. And I say these things because, when you talk about our O-line, that's something that pops up is the old thing. So, I mean, it's fair, right? Sure. Sadiq Charles, younger guy. No Pro Bowl. 4th round, 2020 draft. So, guy that's probably going into his 4th year, it's going to be his best year yet. So, it should be a little bit better. Nick Gates. Oh no. 6th season. Let's see. So Nick Gates, this is his 6th season. He wasn't on the team last year, so let me go to this year. Let's go to this year. He's slated to be the starting center with the Giants. Going to his 5th year. Trying to see when he was drafted from Nebraska. I really don't know anything about this guy. Nick Gates. Who just on the O-line? Sam Cosmi was a 2nd round pick, and from what people talked about, like there's some expectations for Sam Cosmi, but he still sounds like he's still trying to get it. Nothing too dominant yet, but I mean, and that's the thing. Like when you're having these discussions with people, you know, they'll throw out a name like Sam Cosmi. Like in the past, I've gone to Washington chats and trolled a little bit, and one of the things I always talked about was the O-line, and like Washington fans will come back and talk about how the offensive line is getting better and how they added pieces, but when you talk about relative to the rest of the NFL, you got to understand that there's offensive lines that have multiple Pro Bowl players and 1 or 2 guys that are consistently being put on these All-Pro teams. So Ricky Stromberg, that's a guy that popped out too for center. I don't know if he's going to start. He's a rookie. I mean, they're adding pieces slowly. But offensive line is so important, man. It's so important. It's so important to have, you know, pick guys. I honestly wanted the Cowboys to use a 2nd round pick for a lineman versus what we got with the Schoonmaker pick. I still like the Schoonmaker pick though. I'm not tripping too hard on it until I got a trip. But the offensive line, very important. And you gotta have, I don't know, you gotta have something more than solid. So in that case, I don't really fear Washington because of their offensive line situation. Andrew Willie, I think, didn't he come from the Chiefs? Yeah. Let's see, 6th season. See if he has any skins on the wall. Yeah, see, no Pro Bowl. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's an important thing. I mean, we got guys on our line, Terrence Steele, who we feel like they're gonna make a Pro Bowl one year that hasn't done it yet. Tyler Smith, the rookie, but see, he was a 1st round pick, right? Terrence Steele is. I mean, once he gets paid and you see that he gets paid, you're going to realize, all right, well, this guy. So unless you got guys who are getting paid big money, 1st round picks, guys that are making it to Pro Bowls, you really got to continue to flip that offensive line. I mean, you look at Philly's success, man. Philly's success comes from the fact that they had a great offensive line. And I think that's just, it's real important to build an offensive line. So I just don't think Washington has the type of offensive line to really make as much noise as they feel they are. You know, they're excited. They got the new name. Their owner's going. He's about to sell the team. And they have a new quarterback every year. So that's like, there's always like in the offseason this point where they're banging the table about how this quarterback's going to be the one. This quarterback. And we can just get decent quarterback play. But the problem is you don't have decent O-line play either. So I don't know. They keep missing on quarterback and O-line. Weapons are good. I think their weapons are good enough. Great wide receivers. Good running back. Pretty good running back room. I think Logan Thomas could be serviceable. But line wise, quarterback wise, I don't believe in Washington. Howell and Brissett, they're having to they're going at a battle, quarterback battle. So we'll see. Offensively though, I mean, I'll take my offense over theirs all day just because of the quarterback, offensive line. We have about the same comparable weapons. So I don't think either team's weapons are that much better than the other. But I mean, if you know that's what you need to tell yourself, that's cool. Defensively, Chase Young not getting that 5th-year option. That's kind of eye-opening. That's I think if Chase Young doesn't pan out, that's going to be on the lines of the Albert Haynesworth bust kind of deal. Just a lot of hope for Chase Young, and I always see people talk about, like, you know, once Chase Young comes back and he's healthy. But the problem was even before he got hurt, I don't think he was playing at that high of a level, you know. So, but other than that, man, on defense, they got some good pieces. Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat. I mean, John Ridgway was a guy that we had, and we let him go, and he's seemingly gone over and done pretty well with Washington. So we'll keep an eye on that. But it starts with their D-line for sure. Washington has if Chase Young was playing up to what his potential was supposed to be, like, you would hands down, like, would be the scariest front in the NFL. But they're very good against the run. I hear they're very good against the run, and because they're just so, Washington's like just been so bad over the years that you don't expect anything. You don't expect them to have anything good, right? But that defensive line is among the best. David Mayo at linebacker. I don't really know that cat. I know some Mayos at linebacker. Remember some Mayos. But I'm 5th round pick from Carolina since 2015. Well, maybe that is. Oh, let's see. No, that's not him. Yeah, no, it's not. Who am I thinking of? Mayo. Patriots linebacker. Comment in the chat if you. This David Mayo dude. Not a lot of tackles. Yeah, has never put up over 100 tackles in any season. So he's under weak side. He's looks to be a starting weak side linebacker. They lost. Who'd y'all lose? Y'all lost that dude that picked that. I don't know, but y'all got Cody Barton back. I saw some things from him. He was from Seattle. Seems pretty good. Last year he posted over 100 tackles, so he was a tackling machine on Seattle. I don't think, maybe he started every game. But no, he's. I was checking him out, man. He's pretty. Yeah, he didn't even start every game. He only started 11 games, but he still finished on the team like either first or second in tackles last year for Seattle. So I think that was an excellent pickup and replacing whoever y'all lost last year. I know he was pretty good though. His name's slipping my mind. But Cody Barton, I think he's going to be a good linebacker for the Washingtons. I think he's going to be pretty good. Jamin Davis, the rookie. I think he got over 100 tackles last year. Not Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. I ain't really go over them. Montez Sweat either. I think he's actually the better defensive end out of him and Chase Young. But, you know, I if you know, you know. So I ain't really covered them. Comparing them to our D-line, if you want to do that, I think their interior is better. I can say that. I think Washington's. I can honestly say their interior is better than our interior. Um, but I mean, you got Micah Parsons, so I mean D-Law. So you talking about edge rushing? I think we got y'all on that. Then we have way more depth at edge rushers. So I mean, if that sounds biased, whatever. But I'm just trying to, But Jamin Davis, over 100 tackles, was the first round pick 19. Kind of, I don't know, maybe. I remember we picked LVE at overall pick number 18, and you appreciate 100 tackles from a linebacker, but you want a little bit more. You want to see some playmaking. So I don't think Jamin Davis was quite the playmaker that you expect to see from a 19th overall pick, especially a linebacker. Because the production you get from linebackers in the second round is crazy. So if you're getting a guy in the top 20, you expect immediate impact, and it doesn't always pan out for you for linebacker. But sometimes you draft Michael Parsons and it does. Kendall Fuller, he's been in the league for a little bit, right? Third round pick since 2016. Solid guy. Solid. 3 INTs. I wonder what was his. Let's see. How did Kendall Fuller fare? Cornerback wise. All right. So Kendall Fuller completion percentage against him was 55.4%. Not bad. Not bad at all. 590 yards. Only allowed 5 touchdowns. 3 INTs, like I said. Started all 17 games. Cornerbacks, though, I mean, we still got that, man. Cowboys have better cornerbacks, for sure. Better secondary. I know they're excited about Emmanuel Forbes. Emmanuel Forbes is tearing it up in camp right now, apparently. So Washington fans are very excited about their first round pick. Derek Forrest, Cameron Curl. I don't really know these guys, so I would almost guess that they're just kind of dudes. They're just guys. But I mean, if y'all like them, then 76.9, and I really don't know what you would. It's hard for me to read, and maybe just kind of like look at safety stats, and I'm not really how do you judge safeties? But he had 83 tackles. You got a couple, no interceptions, completion percentage 76.9. And again, when it's a job for the safety to cover versus not. But according to this, people can complete on him pretty regularly. Oh, and then you have after Cameron Curl, Derek Forrest. I ain't heard of him either. Mm-hmm. 54.5% completion against 4 touchdowns on 88 tackles. So their safeties, they do a little tackling. One's a little bit better at covering, I guess, if those completion percentage numbers are, totally accurate. But I don't know. I don't really hear those guys' names amongst the elite talks of safety. Maybe I just don't follow Washington enough. I think we hear about them enough as NFC's foes, but I think our secondary they have an improved secondary, but I just feel our secondary is still better at this point. They don't have the depth that we have at safety. Their third cornerback, St. Juice. I think he's going to be the slot guy. Washington fans will probably hype him up. But he's a third-round pick. Third-round corners sometimes can make a little noise for you. 47.7 completion percentage. 3 touchdowns against them. No INTs. Started 12 games. Solid. So solid, maybe guy on the up and up. But I still give our secondary. I think the only thing they have better than us defensively, though, is that defensive tackle position. And maybe Barton might be better than LVE and Damone. Looking for Damone Clark to make a big jump, but I don't know. That Barton pickup is kind of I don't see as I wanted a linebacker this year. I wanted an extra linebacker, and so if the Cowboys could have got a guy like that, then that would have been great. But I don't know. Kind of went under the radar. But that's pretty much Washington, y'all. I don't know. Washington they're still a quarterback and offensive line away. They got to hurry up and get something for Terry McLaurin. They've been kind of just wasting his career. But offensive line wise, and quarterback wise, I feel like they really got to start investing something more significant than what they have been, and just trying to string it together and convince themselves that it's going to work. And they get to this point in the offseason that, they feel like they can compete for the division. And what's my guy? Louis T, I know, the Washington. That's his thing, man. I think in offseason he's primed and ready, and man, they've been, way more as Cowboys fans, we've been pretty disappointed throughout the years, but to be a Washington fan, my dad's a Washington fan, and I think he keeps up more with the Texans, Even when my mom passed away, she was a big Cowboys fan. I think he probably even started trying to kind of look at the Cowboys a little more than what he does with Washington. So, defensively, defensive line is always going to be tough. We always have a bad matchup when it comes to trying to run the ball on Washington. Very stout in that position, but again, offensively, I don't think they can protect their quarterback. I don't think their quarterback is that talented. Relative to he's an NFL player, so he's talented. But we're talking about compared to the rest of the guys, right? Not me and you, but the rest of the guys. So I don't think Sam Howell is. He might surprise some people, but I predict just. It's going to be more quarterback flip-flopping. You're going to see some games for Sam Howell, and then the fan base is going to be banging the table for Jacoby Brissett, or Brissett beats out Howell in training camp, and he's not getting the job done. Then they're going to be banging the table for Howell, and I don't know. I think Washington is, again, still trying to convince themselves that they have a competitive team. I just don't. Going down the lineups, and as we've been going down these lineups of other teams, you can't just have a guy here and there, right? You got the best defensive tackles in the league, right? And that's going to be, our defensive tackles, we got the best defensive tackles in the league, and you can boast about it and puff your chest out about it, but good teams have a lot of good talent, not just in one or two areas. So Forbes he'll be better for them. I think he's a great addition. He's a rookie. He still has to go through his. You can't depend on a rookie cornerback to be your savior. Their secondary wasn't that great last year, but he's not. I don't think he's going to be the savior coming in. He might have a Sauce Gardner kind of season, but you got to wait. But overall, top to bottom, I think the only thing Washington has that's comparable to our team is the wide receivers are comparable. The running backs aren't. See, it all depends on how Pollard comes back too, man. Because, like I said, Pollard, he's kind of like under the radar, man. He's not being respected for what he did last year. And I think in a lot of games last year, when you look at those games and when he was just making plays, it was just, he looked unstoppable at some points in some games. So he's very disrespected over the offseason since the injury. And with Zeke leaving, I think our running back room is very disrespected right now. Hopefully he's hearing all the noise, but running back room, I would give us a slight edge because of Pollard. Offensive line, though, no, like you don't have anybody who's like Zach Martin. Our center was a Pro Bowl alternate last year. I mean, Tyler Smith is on his way to making Pro Bowls. Terrence Steele, I believe, as well. But you don't have near the talent. So yeah, the DTs and wide receivers, I think, would be something that you can respect for their team. And we just got to see what Emmanuel Forbes is going to look like. But so far, throughout the offseason, everybody's excited about him. So we'll see. So, yeah, man, that's Washington in a nutshell. We play them very late in the season. So I think this actually might be the Thanksgiving game. But yeah, and so Washington finished 4th in NFC. Yeah. Yes, Thanksgiving game, and of course we play them the last game of the season. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how they do. But that's my thoughts on Washington. Man, y'all comment. Let me know if I'm wrong. Any Washington fans, if you pull up on this and you disagree, like, tell me otherwise. I guess, I don't know. But that's Washington, y'all. We'll come back and we'll look at, let me see, next team I gotta go look at. I don't know. Seahawks. Yeah, man, that's a team I've been waiting to break now. Seahawks are, I don't know. We got 4 more teams though. We got Seahawks, Bills, Dolphins, Lions, but all teams I want to look into. Bills and Dolphins. You got a lot of talk about the AFC East being the best division in the league, so I want to go see what the best looks like. And Seahawks apparently are, I don't know. There's so much, like, people really refuse to put Cowboys in that top tier of teams in the NFC this year, but the Seahawks are constantly, they got so much better. They got so much better. I don't know, man. I guess I was wanting the Seahawks to knock off. I think they played the Eagles in the playoffs. Yeah, and I was wanting them to knock them off, and they didn't do it. And Geno, he didn't look too great that game, in my opinion. They lost to San Fran. Yeah, Geno didn't look good in that game at all. And they finished 9-8. So, I mean, you lost 8 games. You barely made it into the playoffs, and you're just this big-time improved team while Cowboys go 12-5. And you got guys like Chris Canty saying they're going to miss the playoffs. You'll probably say the Seahawks are going to the playoffs. So, we'll take a look at the Seahawks, though, all right? So, it's been my time, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Like I say, man, comment, subscribe, do what you got to do. And, man, we'll keep this thing going. So, y'all be good out there.